Hey, hey, hey. I hope all is well. Let me get my stuff up here. As soon as I figure out my life. What's going on, y'all? Happy Monday. I hope this day has treated you well. I hope that you are blessed. I hope all is looking up for you guys. I know it's been a time, okay? We'll say that. It's definitely been a time these past couple of weeks. So I hope and pray that all is well and that you are okay. And I hope that this live is bring some sort of solace, some brightness, some sunshine to your day if it's not going so well. So we're going to dive into our topic tonight, which is emotionally recovering well, which is, I feel like, on topic for a lot of what's going on right now. Whether it be if you are impacted by your career and things that are happening within the workforce, whether you're impacted just by life in. I hope that this brings some form of strategy, I would say, steps that you can actually take, practical steps that you can take away from this live. So I really do hope that this brings something to you. Make sure to like the live, make sure to share the live with anyone that you think that can benefit. And we'll dive in a little bit just to first we'll talk about emotional recovery and what that actually is. So what does it mean to emotionally recover? So many of us are just used to surviving hard situations, right? We're just used to getting through it, just trying to push through the pain or wait for it to be over, right? So tonight I just want to dive into what it means to recover well, emotionally and spiritually, with intention, with grace, with presence, right? Because when we're talking about mindfulness, it's all about awareness and being present with what's going on in the moment and dealing what's within the moment, right? So that's what I want to talk about today. Now, just kind of talking a little bit more about recovering well. It's choosing to intentionally engage in healing while recovering rather than suffering through recovery with resistance. Okay, I'll repeat that again. What does it mean to emotionally recover well? It means recovering well, it means in choosing to intentionally engage in healing while recovering rather than suffering through recovery with resistance. Sometimes when we're trying to recover, we fight it all the way through instead of diving into it and engaging it and being intentional about it. So that's what emotionally recovering well means and what we're going to talk about today. So just keep that in mind, right? And then just also thinking about practicing intentional awareness, participating in healing, intentionally participating in healing, and then creating space for compassion, self-love, and gratitude in the process. Okay? Just a second, y'all. Just a second. Because I don't have time for the foolishness. I don't have time for the foolishness today. I'm sorry. I sing randomly if y'all didn't know yet. But there we go. We good now. All right. So we talked about recovering well, practicing intentional awareness. Hi, Lars. Welcome in. Practicing intentional awareness, practicing in healing or participating in healing, and then creating space for compassion, self-love, and gratitude in the process. Okay. Thank you, Miss Robin. I appreciate it. So let's dive in, right? If this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I'm a certified mindfulness coach. On this channel, we explore mindfulness through several different lenses, like meditations and just practical mindfulness tools that you can use throughout your life to help just with making everyday life more present and more meaningful. I'm also an emerging counselor. I'm currently in internship and practicum right now, and sitting with clients for the first time. So there is the therapy aspect of it. I can only practice but so much since I'm interning, but there's still some of that associated with the conversations that we have. Hey, Hiru, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in this week. So if this is like I said, if this is your first time, make sure to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to like the live, make sure to share the live with anyone that you think can benefit from it. And talk back to me. This is very much an interactive live. If you have questions, if you have something that you want to add that you think that I missed, please do so. I welcome all of that. Just don't come with the foolishness, okay? Other than that, we good. Okay, so let's dive in. Again, if this is your first time, make sure to understand that we always start with some overview of the topic. I'll give you some tips, I'll give you some pointers, and then we always end the live with affirmations. So you have affirmations, sometimes journaling prompts too, but affirmations that you can take away to use with you throughout the week or whenever you feel the need to use those affirmations. I'll talk a little bit more about those things when we get there, but just to give you a heads up. All right. How can we recover well? How can we recover well emotionally? Okay. Thank you, Lars. So I have 4 steps on how you can recover emotionally. Just a second. I'm having text messages come in. They're going to interrupt. Go ahead. Okay, we'll go ahead and quit that. All right, cool. So 4 ways to recover well emotionally. Point number 1. Acknowledge what you are healing from, okay? So many times we don't even take the time to acknowledge what we're experiencing. We spend a lot of time in avoidance, rejecting what's happening. We spend a lot of times in just not even accepting that that there is an issue, that we have a need for healing. So the first step, of course, is always going to be awareness. It's always going to be acknowledgement, right? So acknowledge what you're healing from. You can't heal what you don't name, okay? Take time to honestly recognize what hurt you, the event, the disappointment, the changes, right? Naming it allows you to release and not ruminate, or to allow your minds to be on a consistent replay or instant replay of what's happening. It allows you to stop that process and allow you to go through a process of acceptance, through a process of awareness, and again, in the process of recovering and healing, right? So it starts with acknowledgement. What are you healing from? What is the issue? Be specific. It's more than just being I'm mad or I'm sad, because typically anger and sadness are secondary emotion. It's typically you're embarrassed and then you're angry that you're embarrassed, or you're hurt and then you're sad because you're hurt. Be very specific as to what you're experiencing, so that way you can take the time to address it, right? You can't address what you don't name. Also understanding that emotions are messengers, not enemies, right? Sometimes when we think about emotions, especially difficult ones, we think of them as an enemy or something for you to get rid of, rather than it being a message or an indicator that something is wrong or something needs to be addressed. Okay, so emotions are messengers, not enemies. Let yourself feel sadness, let yourself feel anger, let yourself feel confusion without labeling them as bad. There's no, I like to say, some may disagree, there's no bad emotion, right? Emotions are just, like I said, a teacher or an indicator of something needs to happen, something needs to be addressed, or something needs, especially internally, something internally needs your attention, okay? My day is pretty good, almost done. Almost done. Okay, so that was point number 1. Acknowledge what you're healing from. Ensure to be specific. I was about to say Pacific. Ignorant. Sorry, y'all. Be specific. And then also understanding what the role of your emotions play. They're not your enemy. They're a messenger. And then also, I think I have one last thing here is recovery begins when you make space for your emotions to be seen and softened, right? You have to make space for your emotions to be seen. Sometimes, like I said, we just push them to the side, and in us pushing those things to the side, we end up delaying recovery or making recovery more difficult, more frustrating, more confusing, rather than it being an enlightening experience. It becomes, I just need to get through this, right? So one of the things that you can ask yourself or say to yourself is that this happened, whatever it is, fill in the blank, and it affected me, right? Sometimes even admitting that something affected us is hard, right? Because when you admit it, then you have to address it. So this such and such happened, and it's affecting me. That's the beginning. That's the beginning of acknowledgement. That's the beginning of healing and recovery, okay? So that was step number 1. Step number 2 is rest, right? Rest and restoration of your energy. When you have to recover from something, typically it's associated with exhaustion, right? And it's not just a physical exhaustion. It's an emotional, it's a spiritual exhaustion, right? So once you take the time to notice that something is wrong, okay? Thank you, Miss Robin. I'm glad that this is helpful. Once you notice that something is wrong, right? Then you have to address it with rest, okay? So when it comes to true recovery, it's going to include some form of rest, emotionally, physically, or spiritually, okay? That doesn't mean just sleeping. It's a matter of creating restoration in those 3 areas, like I mentioned. It's teaching your body safety again, okay? Because if you find yourself in a state of, I need recovery, there's an element to your body, whether your nervous system or just your physical body in general, that's in fight, flight, or freeze responses, right? And when you're in fight, flight, or freeze, there's an element to your body that doesn't feel like it's safe. So I know I've talked about this before, but your nervous system is like an indicator to your body of whether your body is safe or not. Right? And so when you have an element to where you have to recover, it means that there's some level of danger that your body or your emotions are feeling or are telling your brain that is happening, which is now indicating that you need recovery. Okay? So when you are in a state where you need to recover emotionally, your body is feeling danger, 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 right? So restoration is a matter of giving your body the indication that, hey, everything's okay. Let's calm down. Let's chill. Let's regroup. Let's recenter, right? Let's restore. Let's replenish, right? I'm trying to think of all the words. Let's fill this back up. Let's replenish, right? So when it comes to rest, when your body is in its restful state, that indicates to the body that it's safe. It indicates that to your brain that it's safe. So then therefore your nervous system is able to calm down. And then now you're able to have lucid, rational thoughts, right? Because sometimes when we're emotional, we're unable to think rationally. It just resets your body. Like I said, it can be physical reset, it can be spiritual, it can be emotional reset. But at the end of the day, a reset is needed, okay? And it can cause you to be guarded. Thank you, Miss Robin. Yes, and you're in Germany. Welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, so when it comes to you being guarded, that's typically your nervous system in a state of overprotection, because your nervous system its job is to protect you, right? So meant to our bodies are meant to keep us safe, right? Our nervous system is there to keep us safe, and it will activate when you're actually in danger. Your nervous system is what tells you to run when there's danger, or it's that creepy feeling you get when something bad is about to happen, or you see something happening. Even when you're watching a horror movie and you jump, that's your nervous system activating because of the fact that it senses danger. Now, the thing about it is that the danger is either real danger or perceived danger. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference. Your brain is what tells your nervous system the difference, right? So if you are watching a horror movie and you jump, your brain is automatically like, oh, this is a little movie. Like, why am I jumping? And then it calms your nervous system back down, right? But if we are not actually acknowledging, like step number one, that it's an issue, and we're not telling our nervous system by resting that everything is okay, then we're going to consistently live in that fight, flight, or freeze state, which is where the guardedness comes from. I am a mindfulness coach. So that's where all of this is coming from. You were asking if I was a doctor. Thank you, Kaya. I hope I'm saying your name right. I appreciate that. And I hope this is helpful. Definitely talk back to me if you have any questions, y'all. So that was number two. Number one was acknowledge what you're healing from. Number two is rest, or restoration of energy. Number three is reflect and release, okay? Reflect and release, restoration of meaning, okay? So when you think of rest, it's restoration of energy. When you think of reflection, it's restoration of meaning, okay? Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that, Robin. Okay, so when it comes, like I said, reflection is restoration of meaning. Rest is restoration of energy. So now we're going to restoration of meaning. So that's reminding yourself of the why. Reflection helps you to see the lessons in your experiences, to help process what's changing and what you can let go of, okay? So restoration of meaning or reflection is a matter of, what's the analogy of eating the meat and throwing the bones away, right? You have this experience that you had your truths and you have your falsehoods. It's a matter of throwing away the falsehoods and holding on to the truth in order for you to continue to restoration, okay? Or recovery, right? So reminding yourself of the why, and then finding ways to reflect. Now, reflection could look different for everyone. For me, reflection is prayer, it's meditation, it's journaling, it's walking, it's nature, it's working out. Like, that's my way of reflecting, okay? But for you, it may look different. So reflection could be reading, it could be journaling, like I said, prayer, writing, breath work, walking in nature, music, meditation, like I mentioned, voice notes. If you feel like you need to get a lot of the things off of your chest, but you're not a writer, I put down voice notes because a lot of people will use their voice notes to kind of get everything out and then go back to replay and do planning and things. So that's one great way of doing it. Creativity. Some people do it through art. If you are an artist, if you're a singer, if you like to do new activities, there's so many different ways that you can use your creativity, but finding ways to use that as a matter of reflection is a great way to do so. Disconnecting from technology, okay? Sometimes we are too much in our phones. Not today, because y'all watching me. I'm just saying. But outside of me, no, I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm kidding. But disconnecting from technology is important because sometimes especially with blue light, but sometimes we have so much that we're taking in. And I honestly don't believe that our brains are meant to take in all of the things that we take in on a day-to-day basis with social media. So disconnecting from technology, even if it's just for a day or two, can help with disconnecting and restoring and recovering. I'm going to try voice notes because sometimes I don't feel like, yeah. I've heard someone talking about this and they only use voice notes. And I'm like, I like to write, but you're right. There are some times where you're not able to write, or you don't want to write, or you're just tired and you just need to get information out. And if you don't have anyone to talk to, at least doing a voice note so that way you can go back and really listen back to yourself and play it and say, you know what, I wasn't going through a thing right now, but now I know what the issue is. Now I know what the problem is. That can definitely help. Some people have vocal journals where they don't actually write their journals. They just do a vocal journal. They do like an excerpt every day, just to kind of talk about what they need or what's going on, or how their day went. Um, you're a writer. Okay, best year. Yeah, definitely. If writing makes more sense for you, then do that. But the way that I want to discuss like the restoration of meaning, it starts with just understanding you as a person and what makes the most sense for you to do. And I think sometimes we spend so much time on social media where we're taking advice from people who are not playing the same games that we are, right? If we have um, we're living our life, say our life is a game, and my game is Candy Crush and your game is Monopoly, I can't take advice from you because you're playing Monopoly. You're not playing Candy Crush. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's a matter of, yes, you want to take advice, but also take into consideration what works for you, what is restorative to you, what's self-care for you. What self-care for me may not be self-care for you. One of my examples all the time is that I don't like getting my nails done. People say it's self-care. Oh, I'm gonna go get my nails. I hate it. It's annoying. I gotta pick a color. It hurts. The whole like background, the massage chair, that don't feel good to me. Okay. It don't. So someone may see getting their nails done as being restorative and self-care and relaxing. It's not for me. As y'all can see, I don't get my nails done that much anymore because I felt like I don't really need to. And then it's a waste of money. So yes, that's me. I may be weird, but that's definitely me. Restorative just basically means, oh, but I'm right. Okay. So when I mean what's restorative is something that fills your cup back up. So when I think of something that's restorative for me is physically is rest, me getting my sleep every single night, right? Restorative for me is spiritually is meditation, is prayer, it's connection, it's also like music, it's also dancing. Like those are all very restorative to me. What's restorative to me emotionally is support, connection with other people, being able to talk through things, having a therapist, having access to some form of something that's going to be able to fuel my soul, fuel my emotions, because our emotions are connected to our souls. So that's what I mean by restorative. But I'm also going to go through the rest of this here, because this will actually answer more of your question. Um, so when it comes to other ways that you can do restoration, I talked about disconnecting from technology, revisiting purpose and values. I know I've talked about this before on this channel about understanding purpose and highlighting your values and making sure to understand what you value in order to bring yourself back to what you need, right? So you'll find other videos on my channel about values and how to select values and how to confirm those values and internalize those values. There's also several meditations on this channel too, that will help with that too. But revisiting purpose and values is important because that reminds you of your why. Another way is movement. So like I said, dancing, working out, whatever that looks like for you. Gratitude practice, again, connection. I talked about that a little bit. And then mindful conversations are helpful too, because I think A lot of times we go through this restoration process, we isolate, and I do think that to a degree, pulling back from the things that you have to get done for a season to restore yourself is crucial. But I think sometimes we take that too far. And to the point where we self isolate so much that that then evolves into loneliness, and then it evolves into that self isolation, and then evolves into depression. So you want to, of course, if you feel like you need to pull back from what's going on, then do that. But don't allow yourself to fall into your isolation for long periods of time, as well as don't allow it to overwhelm you to the point where now it's controlling your thoughts. And then being alone with your thoughts for too long can be isolating and depressing. I'll be very real, okay? So always handle that with care and give yourself what you need, but don't be afraid to ask for support. Don't be afraid to reach out for a helping hand. We all need help at some point in our lives, okay? Okay, so now that I talked about how you can reflect or go through reflection, right? You want to take that time to, however you decide to reflect, revisit the experience, right? Notice patterns of emotional truths and falsehoods, like I said. Ask what the experience is teaching or revealing, okay? Ask what the experience is teaching or revealing, because every experience that we're going through can teach us something, whether it be teach us about ourselves, teach us about other people, can't talk today, y'all, teach you about other people, or teach you about your environment, right? So ask what the experience is teaching you or revealing to you, and then begin to make meaning out of what you've gone through, okay? Sometimes we find ourselves unable to recover because we don't have meaning, or there's no meaning as to why the thing happened. And you may not even come to a conclusion of what the meaning is, but even to explore that, or at least find what it's teaching or revealing to you, can make sense of what's happening. Now, granted, there are situations that may not make sense. And those are just our lives' mysteries, right? Those are just the lives, things that happen that we can't explain. But there are things that we can still pull from to teach us or to reveal to us about ourselves, about others, or about our environment that we can use in our recovery, okay? I think about people who have lost someone or that are grieving, and they take the grief of that person and rechannel it into whether it be a non-for-profit, or they rechannel it into something that they want to move an agenda that they want to move forward. And so that's what I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of creating meaning, even in situations that don't seem like it makes sense or that there is any meaning. So listen, I'll take 5 cents. It don't matter. No, I'm kidding. No, thank you so much. For wanting to give me that. Okay, so when it comes to, where was I at? That was point B of 3, I think. Yes. So point C of 3 is let go of those things that are not serving you. Okay? Let go of the things that are not serving you. Like I said, you want to separate the truths and the falsehoods, right? When it comes to noticing patterns and emotional truths and falsehoods, you want to separate those two and let go of the falsehoods, okay? Hold on to the truth, let go of the falsehoods. So let go of those things that are not serving you, whether it be shame, disappointment, the thought of failure, right? Grieve your old self. So if you having to move and shift from one situation or one experience and end up recovering, you may change. You may be a new person on the other side of that. And sometimes the recovering well is understanding that there may be some elements of grief You're not just grieving people when they die, right? You grieve situations, you grieve your old self, you grieve what things used to be, you grieve the way that things used to be, the way that you used to speak, the way that you used to walk, the way that you used to talk, all of those things, if they're changing and evolving, there may be some elements of you that has to grieve that, right? So allowing yourself to shed all of that off of yourself, anything that has to do with like missed opportunities or failures, or what you thought you'd be or what you thought you should be, right? All of the should statements that we think about when it comes to ourselves or relationships or just environments in general, sometimes we have to grieve those shoulds. And when we don't grieve those shoulds or even acknowledge those shoulds, that's what makes recovering well not happen, or that's what makes recovering so difficult. And that's why we may resist recovery, because of the fact that we don't want to face the fact that we would have to grieve these things or let these things go. Okay, face it head on. And I know that's easier said than done, but the more that you get used to facing these emotional issues head on, the more comfortable you will be with addressing them in the future. Okay. So that was number 3. So just to go back to the top quickly, number 1 was acknowledge what you're healing from. Number 2, restoration of energy. And then 3 was reflect and release, restoration of meaning. Okay. And then lastly, number 4, rebuild intentionally. Okay. Rebuild at your pace while introducing small practices that nourish your body, your mind, and your body. Okay. So like we were talking about before, what we can use to reflect and release, those are the same things that you can integrate into your daily routines to rebuild. Okay. So I talked about earlier too, rebuilding internal safety. So when we're recovering well, our nervous system is at a state where it's in fight or flight, or freeze. I'm sorry, y'all. Me talking today has been a thing. Okay, been talking all day. All right, I'm tired, exhausted, but it's okay. I'm happy to be here with you guys. So rebuilding internal safety. So ensuring that or understanding that things may not look the way that you want them to look right now, but putting into place, setting new boundaries, reestablishing your routines, slowly learning to trust your intuition again, right? Many times it's hard to recover well because we don't trust ourselves. And many times we don't trust ourselves because our nervous system is out of whack. Our nervous system feels a certain way, but our brains are saying something else. So then because there's an internal conflict, it's hard for us to trust our intuition, okay? So rebuilding internal safety will put you in a state where you're able to rebuild intentionally as far as recovery. Okay. Setting new boundaries, whether that be with other people or with yourself. A lot of times it's hard for us to recover well because we set boundaries and then we break our own boundaries, right? Reestablishing routines. Sometimes when we get caught off guard or our emotions end up taking us off track, our routines get out of whack, right? So helping us to bring ourselves back to our routine or reestablish a new routine that works better for your day-to-day life. Sometimes our routine does not include self-care. It doesn't include emotional safety. It doesn't include those things. So finding ways to reestablish or get back to our routine can help with rebuilding intentionally, okay? And then again, slowly learning to trust your intuition again. Next space is seeking genuine connection, okay? So healing doesn't have to be lonely. I talked about this a little bit earlier. Surround yourself with support. Sometimes recovery looks like allowing others to hold space for you, okay? Sometimes recovery is reaching out and saying, I need help, right? I need support, especially for those who are perfectionists or for those who feel like they don't need people to get things done. And up until this point, that's probably correct. You don't need people to get things done, but then you have an internal breakdown because you're holding everything within yourself. So seek genuine connection. Making sure that you surround yourself with genuine support. Mind you, I say genuine support, right? Right, exactly. The strong ones, yes. You're always the person that everyone else comes to for help. You have to be able to reach out for help too. Okay. And like I said, sometimes recovery looks like allowing others to hold space for you. Okay. And then show yourself compassion while rebuilding. Recovery isn't linear. Okay. So some days you'll feel strong, other days not so much. And that's okay. Right. Release the shame of that. And then the shame of not healing fast enough, right? The shame of, oh, I'm too emotional, or the shame of just the fact that you need help. Allow yourself to release those things and let go of those things and embrace self-acceptance instead of self-blame. Okay. You're emotional because you care. All right. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing that you are emotional about this particular situation, because guess what? That means you care about it. It'd be different if you're completely numb and you're not feeling anything, and not to say not feeling anything is bad. It just is also an indicator of burnout. It's an indicator of needing emotional recovery. Okay. Yeah, so that was number 4. That was the steps that I have here for y'all. Again, number 1, acknowledge what you're healing from. Number 2, restoration of energy. Number 3, reflect and release, restoration of meaning. And then number 4, rebuild intentionally. Okay. So we're going to dive into affirmations. I have 7 affirmations that you can take away tonight that I hope are helpful. Just like I said at the top of the live, if when it comes to the affirmations, feel free to use them however you wish to. So if you feel like you want to use them to where you want to replace some of the language, if you want to record them, if you want to write them down, put them on Post-it notes, however you wish to, feel free to use it. And again, like I said, replace the language if it doesn't make sense or if it doesn't hold true to you. Feel free to use it however you wish to. Okay, so we are going to jump in. Just a second, y'all. I block people over here. Yeah, I love Post-its. I'm like one of those people that have Post-its on their mirror, or Post-its around the house, or even just in my workspace. Absolutely. All right. So, number 1, I'm learning to take care of myself in ways I never had before. I'm learning to take care of myself in ways I never had before. I'm learning to take care of myself in ways I never had before. This is just a reminder that if this is your first time hearing a lot of this stuff, that this is new, right? And sometimes when things are new, there may be some resistance, there may be some frustration, there may be some confusion. This is just a reminder that you're learning. And it's probably a way of living that you've never lived before. So if you don't get it right the first time or the second time or the 15th time, that's okay. You're learning. You're a work in process. You're a work in progress. Okay. That was number 1. I'm learning to take care of myself in ways I never had before. Number 2, my body and spirit deserve time to slow down and renew. My body and spirit deserve time to slow down and renew. My body and spirit deserve time to slow down and renew. Okay, so that's just a reminder that rest is also productive. Okay, if you're exhausted, if you're tired emotionally and spiritually, then how productive are you really? right? Sometimes we get productive with busy work, the work that don't matter, because of the fact that we're so tired. We feel like I need to do something, and you end up doing things that aren't even productive, right? You're just doing it just to say, "Oh, I did something." Whereas if you were to rest and really take the time to rest and then approach your day with a fresh mind and heart and spirit, then you'll be actually more productive than you were in that 20-25 minutes of tired productivity. Okay. So my body and spirit deserve time to slow down and renew. Okay. Rest isn't a reward, it's a necessity. And sometimes we treat rest and sleep and taking a break as if it's a reward rather than it being necessary for you to operate. You have to rest, you have to sleep, you have to take breaks, right? Sometimes we're living a life of overwhelm because we don't go to sleep. You know what I'm going to do tonight? I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to bed at 10 o'clock. And I'm going to lay and snooze until 7 a.m. Okay? That's what's going to happen. That was number 2. My body and spirit deserve time to slow down and renew. Number 3, I listen gently to what my emotions are trying to teach me. I listen gently to what my emotions are trying to teach me. I listen gently to what my emotions are trying to teach me. Okay? So listen to your feelings, listen to your emotions, not necessarily to take action, because a lot of times our emotions and feelings are fleeting. They sometimes lie to us, right? They don't necessarily always tell us the truth of what's happening. They're going off of a lot of times perception. So it's not necessarily a matter of taking what they teach you and taking action. It's basically understanding what they're teaching you or what they're showing you for awareness. Okay, we don't necessarily have to act on all of the emotions that we feel. It's just a matter of being aware of them and taking action where it needs to take action. And sometimes that action is going through the process of recovery. Okay. So I listen gently to what my emotions are trying to teach me. Number 4, I give myself permission to recover. I am healing intentionally, not just surviving. I give myself permission to recover. I am healing intentionally, not just surviving. I'll slow down because that's a longer one. I give myself permission to recover. I am healing intentionally, not just surviving. Okay. So this is, again, giving yourself permission to recover, giving yourself permission to have the awareness, giving yourself permission to take rest, giving yourself permission to reflect, giving yourself permission for all of those things, right? And understanding that you want to heal intentionally, you want to practice, you want to go into your healing and recovery as a matter of intentionality and as a matter of you actually practicing and going into it. Because the more you practice in recovery, the easier it will be when you have to recover again. Because guess what? You gonna have to recover again. Life is laughing, okay? How many times I had to recover last week? All right, that was 7 days. So just understand that healing and recovery is going to continue. It's going to keep going, right? And the better you practice, the better that you lean into recovery and healing, that's when you'll get to a point where you are healing versus just surviving, okay? Just surviving, it works for a period of time. And sometimes it's intentional, right? Sometimes you have to just survive for the day because it's just a lot going on in that day or even in that week. But at some point, you're going to have to go through some sense of recovery and healing. And the issue that we're running into, especially when it comes to mental health, is that we never get to recovery. We stay in survival mode. We stay in surviving. And That's how burnout happens. That's how depression happens. That's how anxiety happens. That's how all of these things start to pile up because we never get to a state of I need to recover, right? So yeah, I know that we talked about a lot, but that's if you don't take anything else from this live, take that home with you. You know what I mean? Let that just kind of sit on your heart for a little bit and understand that recovery is always going to happen. And recovering well is what will help make life more fulfilling and what will help make life worth living. You know, sometimes we get to a point where I don't want this life. I don't like it. It's just painful. It hurts. I don't want this. And that's how we get there because we're not able to recover well. Now, if you got to this point of life and you weren't one to be able to recover well, show yourself self-compassion. Don't allow yourself to beat yourself up about not being able to recover, okay? Because not being able to recover has to be taught. And they don't teach us this in school. And if our parents don't recover well, they're not going to teach us either, right? So it's just a matter of I have the information, I can do with it what I want, and I want to operate with wisdom, right? Wisdom isn't there's a difference between gaining knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is knowing the information. Wisdom is applying the information, right? So I want to operate in wisdom when I'm learning this new thing, right? Miss Robin, this was so good. I'm going to watch this again a few times. You dropped a lot of gems. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that this was helpful. And hey, this is something that I am still practicing myself. I'm not perfect, right? A lot of these new concepts, some of these are new to me too, you know. As a mindfulness coach, I learned a lot and I have a lot of insight. But now going into becoming a counselor and a therapist, it's added so much and has widened my perspective to the point where I bring it back to you guys. As I learn things, I bring it back to you all in addition to what I've already know as a coach, right? But yeah, so that was number 4, right? Yes, that was number 4. I'm glad you caught my live too, Robin. Okay, yes, number 5. I honor my progress even when it's quiet. I hold space for self-compassion. I kind of talked ahead of myself, but yes, I honor my progress even when it's quiet. And hold space for self-compassion. I'll say that one last time. I honor my progress even when it's quiet and hold space for self-compassion. Just because you don't see or feel the progress, it doesn't mean that it's not happening, right? And sometimes we think because we don't feel we see progress, but we don't see it benefiting at all, or it seems quiet, or it doesn't seem like it's impactful, right? In those moments, holding space for self-compassion is crucial because that's when we start to self-blame. That's when we start to shame. That's when we start ruminating and beating ourselves up and having that instant replay, that reel of thoughts in our minds that just keep playing and playing and playing over and over again with no solution, right? That's what ruminating means. When you have these overwhelming, anxious thoughts that just keep going, 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 but there's no solution, there's no stop to it, it just keeps going, right? Those are the moments that you want to practice self-compassion, okay? That was number 5. I honor my progress even when it's quiet and hold space for self-compassion. We have 2 more, y'all. Number 6, I trust that reflection and rest will reveal what I need to know. I trust that reflection and rest will reveal what I need to know. I trust that reflection and rest will reveal what I need to know, okay? That's just a matter of trusting the process, right? I gave you 4 steps on how to recover well. And trusting the process of reflection and rest and allowing that to work itself through. So that way it reveals to you what you need. When it reveals to you not just what you need, but also what you need to know. What you need to know about yourself, what you need to know about others, and what you need to know about your environment. Okay? That was number 6. And then lastly, number 7, I embrace what's meant for me and put down things before they break me. I embrace what's meant for me and put down things before they break me. I embrace what's meant for me and put down things before they break me. This goes back to intuition, right? And being able to trust our own intuition. And there are times where we have things in our lives that our intuition has told us, let it go. It's not for you. It's not the best for you, but we hold on to it. We hold on to it so tight, and then it ends up breaking us. This is a matter of allowing us to take what we need, what is for us and what was meant for us, and letting go of the things that are not. The things that are not helpful, the things that are not productive, the things that don't have our best interest at heart, the things that we hold on so tightly that and then also too, we don't even know why we're holding on to it. We're just holding on to it because it's familiar, right? And just because something is familiar, it doesn't mean that it's still meant for you. It may have been meant for you for a season, but though that season has passed. It's like walking around in the summer with a winter coat on, right? The season has already passed, right? But we're holding on. Oh, I love this coat. I like this coat. I just want to wear this coat. It's just my favorite. But girl, it's 90 degrees outside. Why you got that coat on? It's a different season. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of understanding the season, and that our life can go in these different seasons. And sometimes things that come into our life are meant for a season, are meant for 2 or 3 seasons, or meant for a lifetime. And it's up to us to really determine what is for us in that moment and in that season, and what is not, and being willing to let go of what is not meant for us. Okay. Otherwise, it's going to break you, right? And then you're going to just, be sweating in a hot coat in the middle of the summer and wonder why. It's not the season, right? So I hope this is helpful, y'all. That was the last affirmation. I'll go back through all of them really quickly so that way you have them. Number 1 was, I'm learning to take care of myself in ways I never had before. Number 2, my body and spirit deserve time to slow down and renew. Number 3, I listen gently to my emotions I listen gently to what my emotions are trying to teach me. Number 4, I give myself permission to recover. I'm healing intentionally, not just surviving. Number 5, I honor my progress even when it's quiet and hold space for self-compassion. Number 6, I trust that reflection and rest will reveal what I need to know. And number 7, I embrace what's meant for me and put down things before they break me. Again, y'all, it's been beautiful tonight. I hope this was helpful. This live is every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So definitely come back. And for next Monday's topic, I most likely will post on Saturday, either Friday or Saturday, new topics. So make sure to vote for next week's topic so that way you have a say on what we talk about. Also, you can always go to my website at haveninspired.com and sign up for the newsletter. So that way you get updates about the live, about new meditations that are posted, and anything else that I'm doing. And even if you are in Illinois, you can always sign up to be one of my first clients. I have 2 clients so far, and probably will be adding several more. So if you're looking for therapy and you live in Illinois, feel free to you can either go to my I don't know if it's on my website. It might be I'll put it in the description, but I also send it out weekly with the newsletter. So make sure to go to haveninspired.com, sign up for the newsletter so that way you get the updates. And let me make sure I'm not missing anything. That's it. You guys should get new meditations this week. One will be on recovering well. I know that for a fact, to probably be a 7 or 10 minute meditation, but you may get some extras as well this week. But if you have any questions, you can always email me at info. See, can't talk again. info@haveninspired.com. You can email that email address and ask any questions that you may have. Otherwise, y'all all have a blessed night and a blessed week. Know and understand that I love you all. And I hope that this, again, is a blessing. I'll go ahead and send everything out on Wednesday for updates with the newsletter. But until next time, I'll see y'all next Monday. Bye.